Your boy's back off IR just in time for a juicy Saturday special of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Goalies galore, my friends. Let's tap into all the latest and get this paper.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, indeed. Not even a ruthless sickness can keep your boy away from the fantasy fanatics. That is popping off on the latest edition of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Shout out to the everydayers who continue to hold us down and make us their first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Mr. Rodin, I'm back, baby. Back in the booth. Appreciate you holding it down the last couple of days. And just in time for a juicy Saturday special. There is a lot going on in the NHL. We try to keep you guys up to date, 30 minutes every single day. It's goalies galore. Like I said, Carter Hart, Markstrom, Talbot and Gibson, the Blackwoods. Let's talk about them. Right now, though, Carter Hart is the biggest news. You and I haven't been able to discuss this yet. Over to you right away, your take. I know he's not going to be able to return to December 1st, I believe, but there is some fantasy angles that we want to cover. What are you seeing from these Vegas Golden Knights?
Yeah, they signed Carter Hart to a PTO, professional tryout, and just, get some action in under him. And obviously we understand the situation that is transpiring on social media, especially on Twitter, on X, that, people frustrated about him being able to play in the league. I know I've seen some things about Ryan McLeod as well, but, I don't want to dive too in depth about it. There was a trial, the charges were dropped. They all 5 players, I believe, were acquitted of any wrongdoing. So again, we try to stay focused on the fantasy hockey aspect of these off ice situations. And that's what we're going to try to do our best on today's episode, talking about Carter Hart. He hasn't played in a year and a half, over a year and a half. So this is going to be an adjustment for him. But, like he said in his scrum the other day, he's looking forward to moving on. He's looking forward for a fresh start and just getting back to playing the game that he loves to play. So while I do believe there is obviously some risk with this player, I know Aiden Hill is still going to be their number one guy. And we don't even know if they're actually going to sign him. This is just a PTO for the moment. Right. It could possibly get signed by the time his suspension is lifted at the beginning of December. But as of right now, all we know is he's signed a PTO with the Vegas Golden Knights. He's going to do a conditioning stint with the farm team, and we'll kind of just go from there. But keep your eyes peeled. I've actually seen him get added to rosters already in a couple of different leagues. So there's obviously some inherent risk that people are willing to take with Carter Hart moving forward.
Let's also just remember a couple of things here. Like you said, we're going to separate all of the off-ice stuff here and try and just give you guys the fantasy angle. Akira Schmid is also the backup here. And I know he's 3-0 this season. He has an .879 save percentage and a career save percentage of right around 900. This is not exactly a guy you want being thrown in there during the playoff push if Aiden Hill goes down with injury. So I think this is a really smart play here for the Vegas Golden Knights. Pure hockey sense, all the other stuff aside, like I said, Carter Hart has proven in his career, even though he was on a bit of a downward trajectory fantasy-wise those last couple of years, right? Looking at those numbers kind of perhaps being hurt by the Philadelphia Flyers' quality overall. This is the Vegas Golden Knights. And if Carter Hart starts catching starts, there is going to be value here. And I obviously understand people are already going out there and adding him, Steele. Keeper Dynasty League I'm in, he's already been snapped up because goalies are not out there. And take a look at what we're going to discuss later on today. So many injuries and rotations in the cage. If there is a guy who is even a shred of a number one goaltender or used to be, he's going to be fantasy relevant and sooner than later. Back over to you, though, because there is a lot of goalie angles to be discussed. I guess I just wanted to leave it at the Vegas Golden Knights are 3-0-2, 8 points to start the year, looking pretty good up front as well. So if this is being an add-on to, let's say, the San Jose Sharks as Carter Hart, not nearly as sexy, but this is the Vegas Golden Knights.
It is, and exactly what I expected. Jack Eichel is shooting the biscuit at will right now. Yes. He has been unbelievable almost a 2-point per game player to start off the season. So you got to hammer those player props of Jack Eichel, especially with the schedule they have coming up. Let's talk about some other goaltenders real quick. And of course, we're going to do a full slate of bets, the entire board. We're going to break down at the end of the episode.
Ooh, baby.
Jacob Markstrom and Jake Allen, the Jakes in New Jersey. And obviously, we kind of talked about this, or I might have talked about this on the recent episode. Jacob Markstrom is out on a week-to-week basis with an injury. I believe it is upper body. Yeah, poised for 2 to 3 week absence. He's expected to miss a couple of weeks with a lower body injury, actually. So Jake Allen will get the run out at least for the next 2 to 3 weeks as the clear number one guy. I've already picked him up in a few different leagues because I drafted Jacob Markstrom in 3 different leagues. So I went straight to the backup opportunity that Jake Allen is going to get moving forward. And he played pretty well the other day, I believe, against the Tampa Bay Lightning it was, or maybe it was the Florida Panthers. It was definitely a Florida team. Yeah, Florida Panthers, a big win the other day against the Columbus Blue Jackets as well. So Jake Allen and Jacob Markstrom are 2 goaltenders, obviously, you want to keep your eyes peeled on, especially with the injury news. But Jake Allen is going to be a good pickup for the time being with Markstrom's sideline.
He's going to have to be, and I've got him in my Keeper Dynasty League that I was just talking about. Look, this guy has been the prototypical security blanket over the course of his career. He has been a really good secondary option and at times a number one. 13 years in the NHL, 2.75 goals against, almost a .910 save percentage. This New Jersey Devils team, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've watched a ton of hockey. This is a pretty good team, right? They are going to fight for a top 3 spot in the Metro. They should. They have a lot of forward depth, good young defensemen as well. So that, again, is, kind of like I was just talking about with the Golden Knights. You can take a shot on Jake Allen and feel pretty good about it. And you totally nailed it. Jacob Markstrom's also, I believe, I wanted to bring it up, I think he's pushing 36 years old. He's got a lot of miles on the body. He's going to be 36 years old. Last year, he had a pretty serious knee injury. If this is that same knee, I'm just speculating, Steele. This won't be a shorter time period where you see a young guy kind of heal quickly and come back. And I'm not a doctor, clearly. However, that's an angle that you have to consider when you're talking about a goaltender that's going to be 36 years old and has had some knee issues. Jake Allen, must add, this is where you're going to have to maneuver the waiver wire. So stay tuned for tomorrow's episode as well.
Yes, sir. Waiver wire Sundays coming up every single week before those new matchups start. We're going to break all those waiver wire best schedules moving forward in the next week on tomorrow's episode. Flip Talbot and Gibson. I did talk about Talbot a little bit when I did the all team studs, all team duds recent episode. I talked about Cam Talbot, but I want to talk about the tandem together because the Detroit Red Wings are running the Atlantic Division. We can get that out after the break. Real quick, actually, breaking news that I just want to pull up. Caden Goalie will be out 4 to 6 weeks. I also talked about Caden Goalie on the all-time studs, all-time duds to start off the years. He was a dud turned into a stud. However, referrals will be sidelined as Goalie is out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Appreciate that. Not really, actually. I appreciate the update, but that guy was actually putting up some decent numbers to start the year for my fantasy team in our casual league. 2 points. He had 7 penalty minutes the other night. He's been putting shots on net, 7 shots on net the last few games. Anyway, 4 to 6 weeks. Tough blow for the Montreal Canadiens. However, I think they're going to be just fine. That team's cooking. Hopefully, we'll continue to do the same. I'm going to slug some water, Steele. I'm ready to go, baby. I'm back in the saddle. We've got more angles to talk about with these fantasy goalies and, of course, a full board of Saturday bets. Let's talk about it. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Hockey season is here, my friends, and nothing beats being at the rink for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your squad. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage, your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You know, Steele's been hitting those up for the occasional Minnesota Wild games. We also like it for all of the theater, comedy, and music events in your area. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms applied. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review, and share with your friends and family out there. It really does mean the world to Flip and I. All that support and love you show us in the comments on the YouTube channel, sending us messages on Instagram or Twitter. Really do appreciate it. Let's get over to appreciating Cam Talbot some more and John Gibson, the tandem in Detroit. I talked about Cam Talbot on the recent episode of the all-time studs, the all-time duds to start off the season. And Cam Talbot has been excellent. 4 games in, he's 3-0-0. You know, he only started 3 games. He had to come in relief for John Gibson in the season opener for them after putting up 5 goals against. But he's 3-0-0 in the 3 starts he's played, a 178 goals against average and a 932 save percentage. John Gibson comes back again after that really poor performance in the season debut, and a great win against the Florida Panthers as well for John Gibson. So I like the tandem. I think this can be Tampa Bay Lightning it was, not Florida Panthers. I'm getting the Florida teams mixed up here on today's episode. Okay. But I think this is a really good tandem, and this can be a very sneaky duo, not just for your fantasy team, but also just for the Detroit Red Wings, because like I said, they are top of the division right now with the Montreal Canadiens. They got 4 wins in 5 games. They're on a 4-game win streak right now, and they are running it, and they're feeling good. After that season opener where they got blown out, they've been really, really solid, not allowing more than 2 goals a game in the last 4. They've been excellent defensively. The goaltending is, again, they've been pretty sound and steady since that season opener. And a guy like Cam Talbot, who I just think has the consistency to really be a sneaky fantasy ad for your team. So with all these injuries that are taking place, Darcy Kemper, Mackenzie Blackwood, who we're going to talk about, Jacob Markstrom, all these players, these are going to be goaltenders that are available under 35% on Yahoo and pretty much across all platforms that you're using for your fantasy leagues this year. But Cam Talbot, he's off to a hot start right now, so you want to get in on that action if possible.
Patty Kane looks sensational to start the year as well. Steele, some good stories with the team. This Emmett Finney kid, who is yet another 7th-round draft pick by the Detroit Red Wings. They've done pretty good, Steele, with those 7th-rounders. Datsuk, Zetterberg. I'm not saying Emmett Finney is going to do that. However, I did want to bring this little tidbit. As much as I've been in the dark for the last couple of days, Lucas Raymond is now day-to-day with an upper body, questionable for Sunday. Emmett Finney right now is playing on that top line. I believe it's Larkin and Mason Appleton right now, quote-unquote top line, even though Casper, Kane, and DeBrincat. Anyway, you got to pay attention to what's going on with the Detroit Red Wings because they're feeling it right now. So I like that you're covering the goaltenders, and you would talk about your boy Cam Talbot. He's just had solid numbers across his career. He's a gamer, and it looks like he really wants that taste at postseason hockey. The Red Wings were close last year. I think they'll be close again. Now
he's also up 28% on Yahoo. He's up 28% in the last week. So he's overall he's rostered at 36%, but he's up 28% in the last week. So that's showcasing people are they're buying into the Cam Talbot Kool-Aid over here.
And just to cut you off, my bad. This week, quickly, Buffalo, New York Islanders, St. Louis Blues back-to-back. Pretty good upcoming schedule for this Red Wings team. Over to you. Let's keep talking goalies, and then I'm ready to build us a big, juicy Saturday parlay.
Well, let's get to the Colorado Avalanche tandem because obviously Mackenzie Blackwood has been injured. Scott Wedgwood has been taking the load to start the season. And I believe Blackwood has been sent down to the farm team on a conditioning loan. The overall timeline for his return to action is still not yet in place. It hasn't been revealed. So he's just going to be, he's just been assigned to the Colorado Eagles. He's been assigned to the AHL for the conditioning stint. And the question I have is, with the way Scott Wedgwood is playing right now, I mean, he is the best goaltender in hockey right now, just to start off the first week and a half. By the numbers anyway. He's 5 games in. He's 4-0-1, has a 939 save percentage, and a 1.58 goals against average. He has been phenomenal. He has only allowed in 4 out of the 5 games, he's only allowed 1 goal. I mean, 1 goal a game pretty much through the first 5 games is outstanding. So He's off his rocker right now. He's playing lights out. He's also up 15% over the last week, and he's currently rostered at 77% on Yahoo. So the question I have is, I mean, is there a chance that Scott Wedgwood just takes the number 1 spot from Mackenzie Blackwood based on how he's playing here?
It's a realistic question to pose. And when I look at these numbers, Steele, the Colorado Avalanche have allowed the least goals so far this season, along with the Washington Capitals and Carolina Hurricanes with a total of an 8-piece. So I would say this. They signed Mackenzie Blackwood to a pretty juicy deal, and he would be, in everyone's eyes, headed into this season, that number 1, the team's winning. Maybe you kind of ease him back in here. I would also say, though, even if it becomes more of a 50-50 split, because at first we were maybe thinking 60-40 or even 70-30 after what we saw Mackenzie Blackwood do down the stretch last season. I think now we're starting to look at it, though. You have to also look into Scott Wedgwood and his career. He's proven that he can be a big game goalie and actually be a very valuable stream option for fantasy GMs out there. So long answer, really long for you. This is how you can tell I've been in bed a little bit too much this week, Steele. I would say still take a look at Scott Wedgwood here. Mackenzie Blackwood was injured and hasn't played at all. They are cooking. I say you don't really mess with things. Is he still going to get looks? Yes. For now, I still say I'm going to hold on to Scott Wedgwood.
Yeah, I think you have to. I don't think there's any chance that you end up dropping him, even when Mackenzie Blackwood does get brought back up to the Avalanche. I mean, I just see Wedgwood getting the run out until he has like a really bad performance, or, the consistency of level of his play has, maybe slightly regressed or dropped off a little bit. They're going to be giving Wedgwood the run out here. And I think it is more of a 50-50 split at this point, because again, in the first 5-6 games of the season, he has been absolutely lights out with the Colorado Avalanche and getting the job done for them. So those are the goaltenders to keep an eye on for, especially with some injured, some returning. Real quick, this episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. We absolutely love using FanDuel. It gives us so many ways to play, building parlays, trying player props, and even following the live lines during the game. It makes watching football every Sunday even more exciting when you've got a little action riding on the games. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. And once again, thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button. Leave a 5-star review for your boys here, Livingstone and Steele Rodin. Saturday, banger, big-time bets. We are getting after it with the full slate of games. We're going to build the entire, I believe there's 12 games on the docket for today.
13?
We're going to get 13 games on the schedule for Saturday, and we're going to build an entire money line parlay to kick things off this Saturday real quick. Let me just pull up. Let me just pull up FanDuel here. Look at that beautiful app there.
Let's cook.
Let's get after it, Flip. So we're just going to go one by one, game by game. We're going to talk about it real quickly. We're not going to, go on any events here. We'll see how we're feeling about these teams and matchups. We're going to build this parlay and see what we could potentially get going at all of these hit.
Yes, most definitely. And let's also be clear. I do have a couple of ones that stand out to me, Steele, and I'll just get those out of the way early because like we have discussed on this show multiple times.
Well, let's go in order of what we're seeing on FanDuel here.
Okay, you go ahead then. You kick us off.
Well, let's talk about it. Florida Panthers and Buffalo Sabres here. Panthers are the favorite. They're on the road in Buffalo at -150. Sabres plus 125. And obviously this is kind of a weird situation that I was thinking about because obviously the Sabres just got their first win, 8-4 over the Ottawa Senators. The Florida Panthers are currently on a 3-game losing streak. Yes. I actually feel the Sabres at home. I'm still waiting for that Tage Thompson takeover game for him to just, put the puck in the back of the net multiple times. So I'm actually going to go with the Sabres in this instance at plus 125.
Florida Panthers have won 7 of the last 8 against the Buffalo Sabres. However, that was a big, juicy win, and I call this a coin flip game, Steele.
It
Florida
is.
Panthers have not looked good. Let's keep this moving. Let's go Sabres money line for the juice. This is going to be a situation, though, that if you were really kind of upping your odds, maybe take them on the puck line, but I like the juice here on the money line at home. Islanders, Sens. The Sens have allowed the most goals in the NHL this year, Steele. I don't know how you're feeling about this spot for the Islanders on the road, but if we're talking just odds and what I've seen from the Sens, I might be inclined to take the Isles. However, another coin flip game, so I'm good either way here.
You know what? I also went with the Islanders in this situation. I think, you know, when I looked at the Islanders have played really well at the Canadian Tire Center.
Enough said.
They play well in Ottawa, and just based on what I've seen from Ottawa so far this season, defensively, they're not great. The goaltending hasn't been nearly good enough for them to win. They barely squeaked out a win against the Seattle Kraken, a 4-3 shootout win a couple of days ago. So I'm very inclined to also take the Islanders on the money line here, pair them up with the Buffalo Sabres. Let's get to the Oilers-New Jersey game. Oilers lost. The first win for the Islanders this season was against the Edmonton Oilers a few days ago as well. But the Edmonton Oilers are now in New Jersey. Where are you looking and who are you feeling for this game?
I would actually take the over in this one if I were going to pick anything on a bigger bet. If I'm going here, Steele, I say this is another coin flip game. I'm kind of feeling the Devils at home, if I'm being honest. And I know Markstrom's out. Jake Allen has proven to step up in these situations before, kind of when he knows he's the guy for a little bit. I expect a good start from Jake Allen. I'm going to take the Devils at home here.
I also agree with the Devils here. You know, it is a coin flip game, but the goaltending, man, I can't even watch Stuart Skinner anymore.
Bouchard's look kind of bad as well.
Bouchard has been terrible. Don't even get me started. I did talk about him actually on that recent episode I did. You know, again, talking about the all-time duds, but he's been atrocious. So I'm not going to get back into it. I also agree with the New Jersey Devils here. Rangers and Canadians. Yesterday, the Rangers were actually at plus 105. They are now minus 104 to the Montreal Canadiens minus 115. I actually went with the New York Rangers, even though they're not scoring goals. I think they're still playing some very good hockey. They just haven't had that puck luck. They haven't had, you know, they're just not capitalizing on those chances. Plus, from what I saw in that game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, goaltenders are just flat out robbing them. They've had so many opportunities to get the puck in the back of the net, and they're just not getting that puck luck, like I said. So, however, Montreal Canadiens are playing well. Rangers are just not scoring. I did end up going with the Rangers in this matchup.
Rangers have dropped 3 straight games, and they're going to have to turn it around in a hurry. This is a tough sell for me, Steele. Looking at the offense that's been clicking for the Montreal Canadiens, 4 straight wins. Fair. However, Chicago, Seattle, Nashville, and Detroit. Canadiens fans, I know you're excited. Don't get too fired up too early here when you're taking down the Kraken and the Blackhawks and the Nashville Predators. So let's slow our roll a little bit. The Rangers are 6-2-2 in their last 10. We're getting juicy today, Steele. I would have probably gone Montreal at home here, but I'm feeling it. You've been watching more hockey than Sick Boy over here. So 6-2-2 in their last 10. Let's go Rangers on the money line for the juice.
Let's go Rangers on the money line. Seattle Kraken, Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not even going to get into it. Toronto Maple Leafs on the money line here. Let's go straight to Tampa Bay, Columbus. They do look good to start off the season. However, it's at home. I like Toronto in this situation.
Straight homer pick. Let's get it.
Tampa Bay Lightning, Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm very inclined to take the Columbus Blue Jackets at minus 120. I believe Nikita Kucherov missed the last game. The Lightning just haven't been there offensively. Okay, perfect. He is sick, so there is the opportunity of missing this one as well. I'm inclined to take the Blue Jackets at minus 120.
Tampa Bay, I'm just reading here, is 12-3 in their last 15 games against Columbus. However, overall, you know, they're just not playing great hockey right now. And with Kucherov out, Steele, I think we're going to stick to the approach of the rest of this parlay, and let's keep it moving. Let's go with the Jackets. This is going to pay out juicy. I say you just put in a $10 wager for us. I'll email Transcy you $5. We're putting a 10-piece on this, and we might have to retire after it hits.
We might have to. Wild and Philadelphia, Minnesota. Tough loss to the Washington Capitals last night, 5-1. They are playing in a back-to-back situation here. They are in Philadelphia. Wild plus 100, Flyers minus 120. I think Wild get this done. I think, again, this is more maybe of a homer pick, but I'm going to go with the Wild. What do you think?
I think this is a tough board, number one.
It
and
is a very tough board.
This has been a very even split. Last 3 games, 1-1-1 Minnesota. So I think if you were laying a wager on this game, I would question your mental sanity just in general because this seems like a tough one. The Wild have to turn it around. I'm not buying into the Flyers. They got pumped the other night by Winnipeg. Let's go mini for fun.
Let's do it. Dallas Stars, St. Louis Blues. I'm going Dallas Stars heavy in this game.
Sure.
I think that's easy for us. Winnipeg, Nashville, I think it's easy in this situation too. We're going to go Winnipeg here. Nashville was on the road the last 3-4 days. They're still on the road, but they're back out a little bit more west or in central. Winnipeg Jets on the money line -182. Avalanche, Boston. I think it's pretty solid and confident what we're going to do in this situation. Probably the Avalanche on the money line -280.
The Avalanche 4-6-0 in their last 10 against Boston. Boston off to a pretty good start, Steele. And then the last 2 games, it's actually been the defense that has kind of been their undoing. They allow 10 goals over their last 2 games. The offense has actually been there for the Bruins. I would be inclined to take the over here. I can't take the Bruins at all this year. It's Fade City. They have played pretty well against Colorado of late. Let's go Colorado at home to play it quote unquote safe. Although this is another one that, aside from throwing a big stinky parlay down, I'd probably be staying away from that one as well.
Yeah, Avalanche money line. Let's rapid fire the last 3 picks. Just tell me who you're taking here. Hurricanes, Kings.
Canes.
Got
to be Canes. The Kings are a little bit banged up now, right? Kemper and Kopitar are both injured. Let's go with the visiting team here.
Penguins, Sharks. Sharks just got dusted aside by the Utah Mammoth last night, so I like the Pittsburgh Penguins in this situation. The goaltending has been very rocky in San Jose. -146 on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Vegas Golden Knights at home, -255. Also going to throw that into the parlay. 13-leg parlay, straight money line picks. The odds, +153,370. You throw a tenner on that, you're looking at $15,000, 337 and 3 cents. We're definitely going to have to throw a tenner on this one. Flip. Let us know how you feel about some of these picks. Let us know what you would take out, what you would put in, switch around a little bit. But this is what Flip and I are going with. Sabres, Islanders, Devils, Rangers, Leafs, Blue Jackets, Wild, Stars, Jets, Avalanche, Hurricanes, Penguins, and the Golden Knights to wrap it up. 13-leg parlay, $10, $15,472.
Steele, just honing in very quickly on ones that kind of jump off the page for me that I like. If you were going to hone this in a little bit, I like Wild on the money line, Jets on the money line, Canes on the money line, Sidney Crosby anytime assist against the Sharks team who has been giving up a whole ton of goals. Those 4 really jump off the page. And I did have a couple of picks if we were just doing our regular 3 pieces. Wild on the money line was one of them. Kaprizov, I don't know if you've seen this guy's shot total this year. He went 11 shots, then 1, then 7 shots, then none, I believe, last game. I say 4 or 5 plus shots for Kaprizov today. That's an easy one. Slap that in with the Wild, and let's get serious today, Steele. Your boy's still feeling a little bit lightheaded, but I'm out here.
Loving the player prop for Kirill Kaprizov and you joining the Minnesota Wild bandwagon over here.
For now.
Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. And we'll see you back here again tomorrow for a Sunder Waiver Wire episode.
Peace.